The Catcher in the Rye, book by J.D. Salinger, presentation by Lance Williamson. Facts about the book. The book has 214 pages. It was published in 1951 by Little Brown and Company. While this book was written, the Great Flood of 1951 happened in the Midwest United States. It takes place in the 1950s while Holden is receiving treatment in a mental hospital. Facts about the author. He was born on January 1st, 1919 in New York City, New York. He attended public schools on the west side of Manhattan, then attended a private school called McBurney School, a school in Manhattan. He was then enrolled at Valley Forge Military Academy in Wayne, Pennsylvania, where he graduated in 1936. He spent his freshman year of college at New York University but dropped out. He then attended a Columbia University evening writing class. That is where he was noticed as a skillful writer. Facts about the author continued. The only award J.D. Salinger ever won was having devoted admirers. He never won an actual award. The only other thing he wrote was called 9 Stories, and he wrote it for the New Yorker. I think it's a magazine or a newspaper, something like that. His parents were Mary and Sol Salinger. He only had one sibling, and that was his older sister Doris. J.D. married Claire Douglas. They had 2 children named Margaret and Matthew. J.D. stands for James David. The main characters. Holden Caulfield, the protagonist and narrator of the novel. A high school junior who just got expelled from a school called Pensy Prep. Ackley, Holden's next-door neighbor in his dorm at Pensy Prep. Stradlater, Holden's roommate at Pensy Prep. Jane Gallagher. She is never actually in the story, but means a lot to Holden after he spent a summer with her. Phoebe Caulfield, Holden's 10-year-old sister. Allie Caulfield, Holden's younger brother. He dies of leukemia at the 3 years before the book takes place. I want to say they never say his real age, but I want to say he's like a 5-year-old or something like that. Shut up, Molly. D.B. Caulfield, Holden's older brother. Sally Hayes, Holden's woman for a long time. They never get married or anything. He's kind of weird. Mr. Spencer, Holden's history teacher at Pensy Prep. Carl Luce, Holden's student advisor at Wooten School. Mr. Antolini, Holden's former English teacher at the Elkton Hills School. Maurice, elevator dude at the Edmond Hotel. Sonny, the prostitute that Holden hires. Nice guy. Summary. The book opens up to 16-year-old Holden Caulfield at Pensy Prep. He has just received notice that he has been expelled from Pensy. This is his 4th expulsion from a school. Meanwhile, the final football game is going on for Pensy Prep, but Holden does not attend it. He's never showed much interest in any sports at all. Instead of going to the game, Holden decides to go to his geezer history teacher's house, where he tells his teacher he has been expelled from Pensy. His teacher chews his butt, and Holden gets annoyed and leaves. Summary continued. He then goes back to his dorm room. His roommates make him angry, and Holden decides that he is going to leave Pensy 3 days early. The problem with this is that his parents aren't expecting him for 3 days, so they will know something went terribly wrong, Holden getting expelled. That night he returns to New York City to his family's house to secretly see his sister, Phoebe. He then leaves their house and goes to one of his old teacher's houses, Mr. Antolini. Mr. A gives Holden some advice about life, and then tells him he's welcome to stay tonight. Holden accepts. He wakes up that night to Mr. Antolini stroking his head. That's freaking creepy. Holden storms out of the house and stays the night on a bench at Grand Central Station. The next day he decides he's going to move out west. He goes home one last time to tell his sister goodbye. Phoebe brings all of her possessions with her to their meeting place. Insisting she leaves with him, he gets really pissed and yells at her and tells her she isn't welcome to come. She then starts bawling and won't speak to Holden. They then go on a walk to the zoo, and Phoebe eventually talks to him again. He buys his ticket. He a ticket? Well, that's a typo. Oh, he a ticket. That's really bad. He buys a ticket for the carousel and watches his little sister smile and enjoy herself. He then smiles for the first time in quite a while. A tear runs down his cheek and realizes once again what happiness really is. He ends the book off with saying he will go to another school in the fall again, but wasn't sure whether he wanted to pass or not. Failure. Why does that relate to the book? Well, I definitely did not relate to anybody in the book, because I don't flunk out of school and have problems with my grades. If I had to relate to somebody, though, it would be Phoebe, because she is really close to her brother, and me and my little brother are pretty close too. Lessons, themes. Two themes I found were the painfulness of growing up and loneliness. I think I speak for every person on earth by saying that nobody ever wants to grow up. Holden has a problem with grasping the idea that he needs to grow up because he enjoys being a little kid so much. Loneliness would really be the opposite of enjoyable. Life is not fun if you don't have anybody to share it with. I think this is why Holden was such a hater, because he never had anyone to share it with, so it seemed extremely pointless and stupid to him. Symbolism. One example of symbolism I found in the book was Holden's little brother, Allie, who dies of leukemia before the book took place. I didn't talk about him much in the summary. I think this is an example of symbolism in the book because it shows the purity Holden is looking for in the world. Holden feels that his little bro was one of those people in the world who weren't fakes. Holden and his brother were very close, and when his brother died, Holden became angry at the world and at God. This altered the way he looked at the world forever. Recommendations and impact. It was quite an odd book. It made many Americans a little iffy to read it because there are a lot of F-bombs and other words of that sort in the book. It really impacted the way a lot of writers wrote their books and the way people spoke. I would not recommend this book mainly because of all the swearing and bad language, but the story was quite interesting, so if you can get past all the F-bombs, the book would be enjoyable. The skill level of the book isn't all that high. Mainly because of the language, I would classify this book as a high school freshman and up. I guess that's the end.